Welcome to this Excel tutorial for beginners by IDRC. In this tutorial, we will look at some Excel basics, such as what is Excel, the definitions, what is a cell, a row, and a column, how to whiten columns and rows, how to add a column and a row, how to wrap data, sort, filter, what values and formulas are, and tables. So what is Excel? Excel is a spreadsheet editor. Features include calculations, graphing, pivot tables, and Visual Basic applications. We used to have a book like this with spreadsheets, and now we have an electronic version. Spreadsheet, sheet, worksheet, workbook. Are they the same thing? Well, a worksheet, sheet, or spreadsheet are the same thing. You can use either or. They consist of cells in which you can enter and calculate data. A workbook is a file that contains one or more worksheets. Cells are the boxes you see in the grid of an Excel worksheet. Each cell has a reference by column letter and row number, and we'll look at that. So here you have an Excel worksheet, and here highlighted in yellow, it's a cell, which is in column B, row 2, and you can always verify that because here you see the same coordinate, B2. And all of these are cells, all of these are cells. Let's look at some data. So let's say you receive this list of students and you need to format your information. And we will begin by going over what we are looking at. So here we remember that these are our cells. For example, here A3. You know these are your cells. Now this on the top is your column. They're in alphabetical order, A, B, C, D, E, and it goes all the way. And then we have your rows. So a column is a vertical alignment of cells. That's all it is. A row is a horizontal alignment of cells, and it runs from left to right across the worksheet. Now, let's look at this information and see. Well, we already see that we need to fix a lot of things because this row is too small, and these numbers are not set as dates. What else do we see? Oh, this is a big problem. This number is not showing correctly. The second thing I would like to point you to is that right next to your name box here, you have your formula bar, and this is what's actually in the cell. So for example, in this cell, you see on the cell, you see it with a plus 11, but the number is actually correct, but it's not showing correctly in your column. I will begin by showing you how to adjust a column. So for example, in this column E, if you select it, you can see it's a little bit too wide. So let's make that smaller. So to do that, you move your mouse and set it in between both columns E and F. And when you do that, you will see a double arrow. And when you see the double arrow, you double click fast, and this would adjust the width of the column. So let's do it again. There you go. The other option is to right click, go all the way down to column width, and change the width here under this option. So we could say 10, and you could try to do that, but usually the easiest way to be accurate is doing the double clicking here. And so if you wanted to do the same thing and you had some big columns like this, you can also do it for the entire worksheet. And to do that, you go to the top left here under the triangle, and it selects all the rows and all the columns. So once you do that, you go in between any column to get your double arrow, double click, and it's going to change all of your columns and adjust them. Same thing for the rows. For example, this one is too narrow. So let's do that. Let's select it, look for the double arrow, double click, and there you go. It's fixed. Or you could have done the same thing as with the column, right click, row height, and change the row height. Whichever is easier for you. And then we are going to look on how to add columns and rows. So to add a column, all you do is decide where you need it. For example, I want a column in between Maria and the birth date. So let's right click, select your column, right click, and click insert. And there you have it. You have your new column. Same for the rows. Select, right click, insert, and you have a new row. So let me undo that and delete this one. And look, let's go back to the problems we had here. Let's fix this first. So to fix this number, we select column and we go to the top right here. We're already under home, and go to number. Under general, you select number. And because it gave you 2 decimal numbers, you want to remove those. And the easy way to do that is over here on the right, decrease decimal numbers, 1, 2, and there you have it. And now this is too wide. Let's make it smaller. There you go. That's fixed. What else do we need to fix? This looks like it would look better if it was centered. So to align that column, we go to alignment. And here the middle one is for center. So there you go. We can do that. And you have all these other options too. Now, let's look at all of these dates. This is wrong. All of these are not set as date. So let's change that. So you can select the entire column, or you can just select the information you want to change and go back again here to number. Click the arrow down and select short date. There you go. It's fixed. Now all of these are also dates. So I can go ahead and select all of them by selecting the column and leaving your mouse pressed. Go to the right, let go, and go back to number, select short date, and there you have it. It's all fixed. They're all dates as we want it. Now, this header could use to be smaller. And the way we can make it smaller is that we can wrap the information that's in this row. And to do that, for example, we select this row, go back to alignment, and here under ABC is the icon to wrap text. So click there. And when you go back and make your column smaller, the text is going to wrap around the cell. So let's undo that. And I want to do that for my entire first row. So I'm going to select the row, go back to alignment, and click ABC. And now I'm going to go and see what I can make smaller. So here you go. This is smaller, this is smaller. Well, this one's a little bigger, so the one fits. The QID, this can be more narrow. This can be narrower. There you go. You can change them as you wish. And now this is looking a little better. Now let's see what else we have a problem with here. If you scroll down, you lose your header. So we want to freeze this header on the top. So how do we do that? So you can even just select your first cell, go to View, and go to the window group and select Freeze Panes, and then select Freeze Top Row. And now you see that line that appeared? That means that it's frozen. So when you scroll down, your header is still up here. Great. So now we are also going to discuss how to sort data. So to sort your information, and what I mean by sorting is that, for example, you want to have all your first graders on the top and, just 1, 2, 3. So let's see what we can do. So let's sort by grade at this point. And let's go back to home, to the ribbon and to home, so you know where you're at. So to sort, what you do is go to data, to the data group, and then you go to sort and filter group and click sort. Now when this appears, you need to check that on the right, you have your My Data Has Headers checked, because you do. Now, what we can do here is sort by, and if you don't see this here, let me delete it, you can add a level. So sort by, and you will see all your headers are here. So we wanted the grade, and you sort on the values, and there's other options. You can sort by cell color, font color, conditional formatting. But we will do smaller to largest. And let's click OK. Great. So this looks correct. It started with grade 1. So that's good. Now, the other option that we can do is if we, for example, highlighted the third graders. And to highlight, go to Home, go to the font group, and you can choose this, the bucket, and click on the arrow down and select your color. So let's do green. All right, now let's go back to our sort. So go to Home, Data, Sort, and in the same column under Grade, I'm going to want to sort by color. To sort on cell color, and under Order, now you can see that it's got a green, and I can decide if I want this on the top or on the bottom. So I'm going to keep it on the top. So click OK, and now these students are on the top. All right, so we can also do filtering. And let's do that now. To filter your information, you go again to Data, and we're already there, and click Filter. And all your columns get a little box right here with an arrow down, a drop-down menu, and that's what we can use to filter our data. So all of them have it. Sometimes if you encounter a problem that I've seen before, let me unclick this. Sometimes you click the filter and the drop-down arrows they appear on the second row. So if that happens, all you have to do is just select your header and click filter. So now we want to filter. All we do, we go to the filter for the grade, and you have several options here. You can filter by color and several other options that we can discuss later on. But the one that I want to point out is this one down here. This one, to select only one grade, you click under select all, which would deselect all of them, and then you select 3, what's the third grade, and then click OK. And now you only see the third graders. Now to clear this filter, you go back here to the filter option, and you have this filter with an X, and you click here, and now you see all your values. So let's go back and see what else we can do. We can also filter by color, and we have our green ones. Let's click that, and there you go. You only see the green ones. Now let's clear this again. Let's clear that up. And let's say, for example, you have a huge list and you filtered some numbers here. I'm going to deselect this and just select some of these. And then I just wanted to see the QIDs in 2019. So, and then I only wanted to see some of these here. I just wanted to see September and November. So when you have a lot of columns and you have a lot of filters, you can get lost sometimes and not remember what you actually filter if you have hundreds of rows and columns. So if you get lost and you don't even know if you put a filter on QAD or residency or you go all the way to AX, so what you can do to clear all your filters is go back to your filter on the top under data and click that, and it's gonna remove all your filters and you will see all your information, and then you can start over. That way you don't miss anything. All right, so now we're gonna talk about, and that was sorting and filtering. Let's set our ribbon here to the home, and let's talk about values against formulas. And so it's not that they're equal or that you can use both. What I mean with this is that, for example, if we added a column here, and remember how to add a column here, and we wanted to see the first and last name here on column F. And I'm not sure why this was missing first name. And we just want to see full name in this cell. To do that, and I'm just going to use the first and the first last name, not the second, just for ease. To do a formula, you always have to start with the equal sign. And then for this, we need to select our first name in cell E2. Then we add an and then we need a space in between the first name and the last name, right? So we put that by entering in quotes, a space in quotes, and then another and the last name. And then you click enter. Now you see you got Carlos Jones. But if you go up here to your formula bar, what you see here is not what the value is. You have a formula, not a value. So just keep that in mind, that if you delete this, that's going to go away. So your formula is still there, but there's nothing in it. So let's go back. Now to if you wanted to do the same thing with all these names, what you can do is copy the formula down. So how do we do that? We select the cell, go to the top, from to the bottom right until your cross becomes a black cross and drag down all the way to the last name. And there you go. The formula copied to the next rows. Now, what if you wanted to delete these 3 columns and you wanted to have your values here without the formulas? To do that, you can select either the entire column or just the cells. But let's select the entire column, right click, copy. Then again, you can go to the column, right click, and then under paste options, select the one that has the 1, 2, 3, the clipboard that has 1, 2, 3 for values. And then click escape in your keyboard. And there you have it. All of these are no longer formulas, they're values. And you can delete these if you wanted to. So that's an easy way to change formulas into values. And this is very important because if you were to attempt to do another formula with this data, it would need to be a value, not a formula. All right. So now for our next topic, it will be to discuss tables. Let me get there. So Excel tables and their benefits. We really like tables. They look very professional and you can make calculations without having to select all your data. It prevents duplicate columns and offers different table styles. And then formulas instantly applied to all the cells in a column. You can also create many tables in the same worksheet. And you can name them and then refer back to them, which we'll discuss in another tutorial. Let's go back to our data. So we are done with this sheet. And if you look at the bottom, you have 2 sheets. You have sheet 1 and sheet 5. So let's go to sheet 5. So it's the same information, but it's not formatted yet. So let's make this information into a table. And how do we do that? It's really easy. Just select any cell within your range of information here. And so I'm gonna just select Anna right there. Go to the top and you have 2 options. You can insert the table by clicking here, insert, and then table, or you under the home ribbon, you can go to the right here under styles and select format as table. And this, I like this option better because then I can select the color that I want or the style that I want. So for this one, I'm going to select this one. And then this pops up. So it's asking me if this information is correct. And it is, it's just that this one's spilling over. And my rows and columns are correct. I have headers. My table has headers. So I click OK. And there you go. Now you have a table. And now, if you notice on the top ribbon, now you have a new option here for table design. So you can change the color over here under table styles, or you can just preview it. I'm going to leave it as is. You can remove the filters because it automatically shows the filters. You can name your table, which I can do here, students. If you want the table name to be longer than just one word, you need to put an underscore and then your next word. Enter. Then another cool thing about this is that when you go into your data and you scroll down, you notice how your header becomes, it turns here. You can see it here. You don't have to freeze your first row. It becomes your header here. So I think that's very cool. In case you forget to go to view and freeze and all that. Okay. So another thing that we can do here is we can add, to add a column, you do the same thing as we did in the other sheet. You right click and insert, but this automatically names the column because with a table, you cannot have a column without a header name. And just like that too, if I wanted to name this last name 2 as column D, enter. If you go into it, it's not letting me. It actually put another 2. So just, and let me make this bigger so you see it. So you will never have duplicate headers because the table is just not going to allow you to. So let me delete that and delete this one. And I'm going to merge, not merge, wrap these cells so I can make my table a little more narrow. So if we remember, you go to Home, go to ABC to wrap your information. And now I can move this over a little less. And maybe I make my row bigger, wider. And this one. Also, let's look at this. If you wanted to have another column at the end, if you type enter, it automatically adds it to your table. And your table, you can always tell where your table ends because you have this little corner here. And the same thing if I wanted to add a new row, I just type something, enter, and you can easily see that this is already within my table. So that's very cool. Now let's add the name and the first last name as we did with the other sheet. So let's add a new column, insert, and this is going to be full name, enter. Let's make this column wider. And I don't think I mentioned, but obviously you can either, when you want to make a column wider, you can just grab your double arrow and select it and leave it pressed down and go to the right or go to the left. Okay. And we go again to do our formula, which is equal. Select the first name and we want a space in between the first and last name, another and the last name, enter. And look what happens. The formula copied all the way down. So that cut your work. So that is something really cool. And now if we select this information too and copy, oh, excuse me, copy and right click, paste values, you have your values. Now, sometimes you get this error here. Let's exit, click escape to get the marching ants away. And let's go look at that error. And it looks like we don't care about this error. So if you click here under ignore error, all those little notifications will go away. So just so you know. And again, we can center our information here under alignment. This one too, the alignment. And all of these, we want them to be the date, right? So we go to number, short date, this one too, select the column, short date. Oh, this one we need to fix. Let's make this wider. Select it, select number, and remove the decimals. Let's make this smaller. Now let's center this information. This one we can make it smaller. This too. And maybe we want to remove these columns. So you can select them, right click, delete. And see this one is giving an error because we didn't even have information there. So you can delete the formula. So what I did was I just deleted with the keyboard delete. And I'll delete this row 2, delete. And now, as you can see, your information looks more put together when you have a table. If we look at sheet 1, you have that, or you could have this. And this seems more appealing to me. Another thing that I wanted to show you real quick is that you can add another table within your worksheet. For example, here we needed to put, let's say, recruiter name, students, date, and let's put a name here. And let's just put that. So let's say that you want to make this a table. So let's do that. Let's go here to format as table. And I want another color. Let's do orange. And now it looks like it did select the correct rows and columns. Click OK. And there you have it. You have a table here. And so let's add more information here. Maybe we have another recruiter that has 20 students and visited them on the 21st. And Logan 1. Let's just do another date. And remember, you can name your table. Let's go name it on the top here, under table design, on the left, recruiters. Enter. Now, take note what happens if I scroll down and I have this table selected. You can see the headers here. Now, if I select this other table, if I scroll down, it's going to show me the headers for this table I have selected. What happens if I copy this table? To copy, you just select all the cells, right click, copy, and maybe I want to put it here. Right click, paste. And if I have to escape. And if I have this, let me make this bigger, this column selected here, and I scroll down, my header appears here. So these are just a few tools you can use for working with your data and making it look more appealing and easier to view and add to it and such. So we hope that this tutorial was helpful to you, and we will have more to come. Thank you for watching.